Good morning. This is Susan Pryor. My co host David Perry and I are privileged to share every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with you on Real Estate Radio Atlanta here on Atlanta's News Radio 1067. I'm a branch manager at Silverton Mortgage. I have a team to help answer your questions when you're buying or refinancing. You know, that process can really be overwhelming, and I often refer to my boss, our CEO, Josh Moffitt. He really says we're in a communications business, and we happen to sell mortgages, but more than anything, we're here to help communicate and help people get to where they want to go through the communication process. We find that really decreases the stress of a very complicated transaction. When David Perry and I launched Real Estate Radio Atlanta, our goal was to give you true information about the local market. We feel passionately that national information really isn't useful. You need to know what's going in your neighborhood, in your school district. I think I use the term hyper-local a lot. It's all about what's going on in your area. And we want to help you treat your real estate and mortgage decisions as part of an overall financial plan. But the most important thing is to give you access to the advice of the top professionals in our market. And on that front, we are honored to have with us top agent Tom Curtin with the Joanne Curtin Team at Keller Williams Realty Consultants. Tom, thank you so much for joining me. You are regular contributors on the show. Sorry. You've been regular contributors on the show, so people have heard you over the year, and I really appreciate you being back with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So Tom, always want you, even though the listeners have heard you before and they're comfortable with your great voice, I still think it's a good idea for you to remind them a little bit about how you do what you do.
Yeah. Well, my wife, Joanne Curtin, started our team, or started in real estate over 13 years ago, and I joined her shortly after that and formed our team. And I think what a big thing that differentiates us is that we really focus on specialization, and just looking at how other top businesses operate. We've come to the conclusion that it's best to have more specialized skills, and that really gives the overall home selling or home buying process, gives the consumer the highest level of service.
And a predictable, what I find with y'all is that the client there's a predictable, every client gets a great experience because each little component of the process is managed and each person has.
Exactly. So, we're not going to get overwhelmed because we're one person. We have a team that can handle every aspect of the transaction.
Do you feel like having a team gives clients more availability, that there's someone available more often?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're one person, you can only be in one place at one time. And so with our team, we definitely have each other's backs. So everybody's in the loop on everything. So if they call into the office and Joanne or I are not available, then there is somebody else there that they can talk to.
I also think that there is a presence of mine. I know when we went to a teaming, we have a teaming structure too. I was more able to be really present with the people that I met with because I wasn't worried about the phone blowing up. And these are 18 people that I haven't called back. Do you guys find that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we perform better as a result of that. And, we're able to have a little bit of downtime.
Get to go on a vacation?
Balance the team. And so we don't have that burnout that a lot of single real estate agents will experience.
It's a lot to manage. You're listening to Real Estate Radio Atlanta here on News Radio 1067. You can reach out to us with your personal questions by jumping online to realestateradioatlanta.com or call the show at 678-331-5600. That's 678-331-5600. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with expert contributor Tom Curtin of the Curtin Team. He'll tell you what's happening here in the Atlanta housing market. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Atlanta here on News Radio 1067. This is Susan Pryor, and I'm here with top agent and expert contributor to the show, Tom Curtin of the Curtin Team. And y'all were the very first expert contributors on the show.
That's right. We were the very first.
The very first show we ever did was Tom and Joanne and I was so terrified.
You were a little bit nervous?
I was a little bit nervous. So the funny thing is, about 3 months later, Joanne and I were cutting up about something, and she said, I just thought you weren't very fun. I'm like, oh, no, I think I'm fun most days, just not that day. Anyway, thanks for hanging with me. So one thing that before we talk about what's going on in the current market, I wanted to talk a little bit about training and how important it is in your team, because I have really seen that sharpen your saw, which my daddy always said, you got to sharpen your saw. I've really seen how that's made a big difference in your team.
Right. Well, we actually just got back from what's called Mega Camp. It's an event that Keller Williams does every year out in Austin, Texas, where they're based. And that's a huge part of, something that Joanne and I do every year. We believe in training. We spend money on training. We feel like, in order to bring our clients the best service, we need to stay on top of what's going on. And really, it's all about learning from other top agents in the industry and how they're doing it, how they've bettered their service, what new things we can do. And Mega Camp brings together, I think it's 5,000 agents or something like that. So it's a pretty big production, but we always get a lot out of it.
And I think that's another thing about the team. Like, you can't step away from your business in order to sharpen your shot and
That's
refresh
right.
if you don't have the right people on the team to make sure your clients are taken care of.
Right. Joanne and I had that conversation. We actually said that this was one of the first times that we didn't have to get up in the middle of the training to go deal with, phone call, text, email, whatever it may be. And we were able to be more focused in there in the moment. And that was a result of having a great team.
That's when the team's all the wheels are starting to work together.
Yeah.
So Reed prepped, we said we're going to do trends, turf, and chiming. So tell me about the trends that are going on in the market today.
Okay. What we were talking about before we came on was just we're in October now. So general seasonality in real estate is that less home sales occur right now than we might see in the spring or the summer. But what we're sharing with our clients that are thinking about selling is that what happens in the spring, what's going to happen this spring is there's a whole lot of new construction that's coming out of the ground right now. And if we have a home for them to sell, we think that now's a great time to do that, even though there may be less buyers in the market than in the spring. I think that the new construction is going to really add a level of competition. So that's a factor to think about. And then on the buying side, as you know, interest rates are not going to stay where they are. We've been surprised that they've stayed this low for as long as they have. So affordability is going to be a factor. Prices have gone up a little bit. Interest rates are going to go up. So if you wait, you're going to be able to buy less home than you would if you purchase it now.
Right. And actually, because of the international uncertainty right now, we're actually seeing a little bit of a dip in interest rates. So people who are looking to buy right now have a really nice little window in the next, who knows how long it'll last, but 30, 60 days.
Right.
The other thing about there being less houses on the market is that there's also less sales happening, less buyers in the market. There's also less sellers.
Right.
So I think a lot of times the buyers that are in the market right now are the serious ones. They're relocation and so I'm hoping that we're going to put a piece of property on the market too, and I'm expecting that it's going to be a great time to put a house on the market this fall.
Right, sure, yeah, it is.
So, and you get maybe less people just wandering around looking at your house.
I mean, in the spring and the summer, you do have a little bit more of an element of the tire kickers, if you will. The weather's been fine right now, but as the weather gets a little bit cooler and rainier, then it's more serious people. They're not just out riding around.
So danger of a hot market. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that we, as real estate agents, want to have is a balanced market. And I think that's really in the best interest of everyone in the whole country to have a balanced market. If the prices continue to increase like they have the last couple of years, it's not sustainable. So you can't have double-digit percentage-wise increases in prices year after year after year. It becomes unsustainable. So, we're starting to see that trend to where we're getting to a more balanced market. If prices continue to go up too rapidly, then the government can't control home prices, but they can control mortgage rates, and they will do what they can to slow it down if it gets too much out of whack.
Because it kind of ties into inflation, and they'll try to push against inflation. Right.
So, I think for all of our sakes, we want it to be more of a balanced market. And a balanced market in Atlanta is, a 2 to 3% increase in home prices, and just an even supply of homes and buyers.
So do you feel like the appreciation that we've had over the last few years, which has been fantastic and aggressive, do you feel like that in itself was scary, or is that just catching us back up from the dip? And now, if we can settle out, we're in a pretty safe place.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely were just catching back up. I mean, the homeowners that we're talking with that purchased in the 2007, 2008 kind of height of the market are seeing now that they're back even. They can sell and maybe even make a little bit of a profit. So I think we were just catching back up to the big dip that we had. So I think we're in a good place that home appreciation will probably slow down a little bit from where it has been and even out.
I think that also, if you're somebody who's not in the right house, I give this lecture a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not in the house you want to live in for the next 10 years, interest rates are great. If you think that you were underwater before, there's a decent chance you're not right now.
Right.
And you never know what's going to happen. Like the market is, so if you're somebody who, like we're selling this piece of property because we just got above water. And you know what? It's been stressful for me. So let's just get rid of it.
Right.
Because now I know we can. It's liquid now. And
Right.
now I can move into something that's in a better spot for our family.
Right.
So, spot for our family. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Atlanta here on News Radio 106.7. This is Susan Pryor, and I'm here with top agent and expert contributor to the show, Tom Curtin with the Curtin Team. Tom, thanks again for hanging with me, and I kind of say you didn't run out the door after the first segment, so I appreciate that. So let's switch gears and give our sellers a little advice. What do people need to be thinking about preparing in this particular market?
Well, for us, there's we like to do 4 important steps when selling a home, and not everyone chooses to do all 4 of these steps. But we feel like if they do, it's really going to get them the most amount of money for their home, and that's most people's goal.
Absolutely.
So those steps are we actually start with a home appraisal, and what that home appraisal does obviously helps determine value, but it also gives the homeowner a sense of what the buyer's lender may do on an appraisal, so that we're aware of those factors that are going to play into an appraisal. And it's sort of an insurance policy for us to not that this would ever happen with Silverton, but occasionally we do have low appraisals that come in because the appraiser is not educated on the market. So us having our own appraisal can help educate that lender's appraiser.
And it makes you feel more comfortable that you know you've got it priced right. And
Right. Right. And it does help in negotiation. We do utilize it in negotiation as well. The next thing that we do is what we call a condition assessment. This is a certified home inspector that will come out. It's not a full-blown home inspection, but it does make the homeowner aware of any what we would call gotchas that may come up that could blow up a deal. If there are problems, we'd rather know about it up front so we can deal with it accordingly before the house is on the market and before we're in the middle of a contract situation. And we can do it with our contractors and on our time frame.
And that's huge. Just stop for just a second and talk about that, because when you're in a negotiation, the buyer always tends to have this fear of who you're going to hire to do the work.
Sure.
And it's always going to cost 10 times as much as you and I know that if you work with your people. So that's a big deal in terms of the cost of resolving those issues.
Right. It is. And again, it's part of it is peace of mind as well. So they feel good about, something major not popping up. The next thing that we do is professional home staging. So we have a home stager that we work with that will come in, some people are scared of staging because they think they're going to turn their house upside down, but it's really advice on colors, what to remove from the house. Big part of the home sale process is decluttering, and just making some little tweaks so that the house shows as well as possibly could show. And then the last step is professional photographs. So we have it staged, and then we have our professional photographer come in, because really your first showing is online. Everybody's evaluating whether they want to see your house based on their pictures. So we make sure that we have the best pictures possible for that home.
And the home staging and the photography in combination are a really important combination, because really the most important staging is that stage right before the picture.
Right. And that's the timing of it. So the home is staged for the photos, specifically for the photographs.
And then when the pillows get moved around in a different way or whatever, it is what it is. But they're really perfect for that online, because really that's what everybody does, right? You eliminate half of what you're doing by looking online these days.
Right. Yep.
I saw a home stage the other day. It
Mm-hmm.
is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. This
Mm-hmm.
was just a partial, but like it's amazing. Like they come in and stuff goes everywhere, and like 2 hours, it's a different place.
Yeah.
It's not always like that. I mean, sometimes it's just helping you move your stuff around, but it is an amazing process. And I can totally see how it changes the mental perceptions of somebody who's looking to buy a house.
Right. Right. Yep.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about. So these are the 4 processes. Is there any advice that you would give them about where to do this in the process? Do they call you the day that they're ready to list, or do they call you ahead of time? Or
I mean, sooner is always better. So we can engage the team to help get the home ready. Some home needs more help than others. So sometimes the process takes a month. Sometimes we can, turn around and be on the market in a week. It just really depends on, several factors, including how much the homeowner themselves are able to do. If their time is limited and we need to be more hands-on, then it may take a little bit longer.
so there's limitations from a seller's perspective about what you can do to prepare your home. There's some of us have more money than others, right? So
Right.
there's a financial and then time you talked about. What can I do myself? What skills do I have? How do you help people decide what to do based on the limitations?
That's really where the professional home stager comes in. They're going to work with that homeowner to determine what their budget is. If they know they're working with a limited budget, then they'll do the best they can with what they have. If the homeowner is willing and there's some suggestions made, like perhaps new countertops would actually return a lot of money for them if they did it on their home, and that's within the homeowner's budget, then they'll help them select that product and we'll get new countertops put in. So we definitely work with all types of homeowners there, and the staging is something that we as a team pay for, so there's no cost to the homeowner for the staging or the professional photographs as well. That's part of our service.
Well, that's huge, because that's certainly not part of everybody's
Yeah.
service.
But from a timing standpoint, I guess one thing that I would point out is, for example, if somebody was thinking that they wanted to sell their house and be gone before the end of the year, then we really need to get their house on the market now, because it may take a couple of weeks to get the home on the market, and then from the time that we put it on the market to get a contract, that varies, but it may be 30 to 60 days is kind of the average. And then the contract itself is going to take about 45 days to close. So if you start doing the math on that, then you're already into January if you call me today.
And so I would say it's never too soon. It's
Right.
never too soon. I mean, I would encourage you to call Tom if you're 9 months out. You think you want to
Right.
move in the spring. Why not talk about it now? Because
Yeah.
there may be some decisions that you make about how you process, how you spend your money over the next few
Right.
months. If you have the time and the money to make a few improvements, I highly encourage you to do that, because the buyer right now is a buyer who wants a move-in home. And they're willing to pay a little bit of a premium to get a home that they can move into, and they don't have to do a lot of repairs
Right.
once you're in.
And there are occasions where we actually may be working with a buyer whose time frame would allow them to not move into the house until the spring. So we may know somebody who wants to be in your neighborhood right now, and they're willing to close on your house and let you stay in the house for 3 months until you're ready to move out.
And
that's a
then
great.
you don't have to put the toys up every day for 2. I like that.
Exactly.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Atlanta on News Radio 106.7. You can call the show at 678-331-5600. That's 678-331-5600.